Hyder. Councilmember Crosby.
Here.
All right. Next order of business is to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. I believe we've all been provided an agenda. Is that correct? Yep. All right.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Thank you.
Kevin.
Councilmember Andrews.
Aye.
Councilmember Hahn.
Aye.
Councilmember Phelps.
Aye.
Councilmember Pedersen.
Aye.
Councilmember Crosby.
Aye.
All right. Motion passes to approve the agenda. Second item of business is to approve the minutes from last month's June 7th meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Thank you.
Councilmember Andrews.
Aye.
Councilmember Hahn.
Aye.
Councilmember Phelps.
Aye.
Councilmember Pedersen.
Aye.
And Councilmember Crosby.
Aye.
Motion approved. Thank you. The Planning and Zoning Commission holds public hearings as required by law and provides recommendations to City Council on matters relating to land use, planning, zoning, and the subdivision of land. Any person who has an interest in the subject matter of a hearing will have the opportunity to provide testimony and present evidence to the Commission during the public hearing. Speakers are required to conduct themselves in an orderly and respectful manner. Disruptive behavior, including applause, yelling, speaking out of turn, or other inappropriate behaviors will not be tolerated. Additionally, the following applies to any person addressing the Commission. First, speakers are limited to 5 minutes unless authorized by myself. Speakers must be at the podium unless previous arrangements have been made by me, which I don't believe anybody requested special arrangements. Speakers must legibly print their name and address on the sign-in sheet at the podium prior to speaking. Speakers must begin by stating their name and address, and speakers should speak clearly into the microphone. Myself will announce the subject of the hearing, followed by a report from staff. Myself will then open the public hearing to the applicant, followed by those in favor of the application, and then those that oppose the application. I will close the public hearing during this time. The commission will discuss amongst themselves. The public may not address the commission after we have closed the public hearing unless requested by myself. The Planning and Zoning Commission shall base their recommendations and/or decision on information and evidence presented during the public hearing. This decision, if required by the application, will be forwarded in writing to City Council for further consideration. Looks like we have 3 hearings tonight. Well, I'm sorry, there's 2 public hearings and then a potential vote on an application for a preliminary plat. So I'd like to open PDD 21-004, a public hearing and possible vote to recommend the approval of an application to change the zoning classifications of approximately 92.85 acres located at 3456 South Farm Road 101 from agricultural to general commercial C2 to Stone Creek Falls Planned Development District PDD. Staff?
Thank you, Chairman. United Bank and Trust owner and the representative ATW LLC have applied to change the zoning classification of 92.85 acres of property located at 3456 South Farm Road 101 from agricultural and general commercial to Stone Creek Falls Planned Development District. The property subject to this is currently utilized as farmland and contains 1 residential structure and an agricultural accessory building. The applicant's representative is proposing the rezoning of this property to the PDD to allow for a mixed-use development consisting of 5 commercial lots, 15.55 acres, 11 multifamily lots, 58.20 acres, and 1 regional detention basin. The development also contains new water, sanitary sewer, and stormwater systems to support the development and the required collector and primary arterial streets. Specifically, the applicant's proposal includes the following elements. Commercial lots 1 through 5, again 15.55 acres. The permitted uses include commercial uses as permitted in the local commercial C1, general commercial C2, and general commercial C3 zoning districts. The maximum lot coverage is 90%, and then standard setbacks of 15 feet and side setback of 6. The multifamily residential lots are 6 through 16. It consists of 58.20 acres. It's for multifamily residential with a maximum building height of 3 stories and a maximum density of 24 units per acre. This equates to roughly 1,400 units. Setbacks are listed with a 25-foot front setback on US Highway 60. The purpose of the Plan Development District regulations is to allow for mixed-use, unconventional, or innovative arrangements of land and public facilities, which would be difficult to develop under the conventional land use and development regulations of the city. The city's technical review team and the builds department have reviewed the plan, both the narrative and the development plan for Stone Creek Falls, in compliance with these regulations. The city's comprehensive plan generally encourages the expansion of residential and commercial development through proactive rezoning of land at appropriate locations. Appropriate locations are described generally throughout the plan with regard to the relationship of land at particular locations to infrastructure capable of supporting various intensities and densities of uses. The goals and corresponding objectives are listed in the staff report for your review. The subject site is surrounded by existing agricultural, commercial, and industrial zone properties and uses. To the north, we have agricultural, the railroad, and light industrial. To the south, we have agricultural, US Highway 60, and general commercial, or C2. To the east, agricultural and light industrial, M1. And then to the west, we have the railroad and also a property zoned light industrial by Greene County's zoning map. The land uses permitted in the applicant's proposal are considered to be generally compatible with the surrounding agricultural, commercial, and industrial zone properties and uses in proximity to the subject parcel. What the TRT does in review of the development plan and the narrative is we do look at municipal water and sewer service capacities and also the transportation systems. So this particular site is currently served by City of Republic sanitary sewer and water service. Both water and sewer service are located on the development site. A 12-inch gravity sanitary sewer line runs through the property, generally from north to south, as you can see on the development plan. A 12-inch water mains runs parallel to US Highway 60 along the southern property line of the parcel. The development of the subject property will require the addition of new water and gravity sanitary sewer main extensions to serve the lots within the development. The general locations of water and sewer mains are located on the development plan. The wastewater generated by the development will flow to the McElhaney lift station and then to the Schuler Creek lift station before being pumped through a series of force mains to the wastewater treatment facility. The lift stations and the wastewater treatment facility do have the capacity to serve this development. The city is currently working on the implementation of the wastewater master plan, which will include upgrades to the McElhaney lift station in 2022, which will increase the capacity of wastewater flowing from areas north of US Highway 60 to accommodate present and future development in this particular area. The city's water system does have the capacity to serve the development of full build-out. Again, the water system, lift stations, and the wastewater treatment facility do have sufficient capacity to serve the proposed development. For the transportation element, the development plan includes the construction and dedication of a new collector street within the development area that will serve as a secondary circulation system parallel to US Highway 60. This is required as part of the city's subdivision ordinance and also the city's major thoroughfare plan. Both commercial and multifamily residential lots will have direct access to this particular street. The development plan also includes the construction and dedication of a new primary arterial street intersecting with US Highway 60 as required by the city's newly adopted major thoroughfare plan. The new street will include a stoplight on US Highway 60 and associated intersection improvements. The street will intersect with US Highway 60 at a 90-degree angle. The location of the new public street has been approved by MoDOT. The primary arterial street will be dedicated to the City of Republic during the final plating process. The applicant did perform a traffic impact study and was reviewed by MoDOT and the City of Republic to analyze the impact of the traffic generated from the proposed development. The TIS indicated the proposed development warrants a traffic signal at the new intersection I just mentioned of the primary arterial street with US Highway 60. The traffic signal and associated intersection improvements will be built by the developer. The development of the new primary arterial street coincides with MoDOT's preliminary plans to build a new segment of State Highway MM to intersect with US Highway 60. Should MoDOT move forward with these plans in the future, the City of Republic will dedicate the portion of the new primary arterial city street constructed by the developer back to MoDOT. The construction of the new intersection will close a portion of North Commercial Avenue or Farm Road 103, relocate a portion of South Farm Road 103, and include also a segment of the new primary arterial across an adjacent property to the north of the development. The city will be working with MoDOT, the applicant, and adjacent property owners to facilitate additional improvements to coordinate with MoDOT's preliminary plans for a new segment of State Highway MM. No parcel within the development will have direct access to either US Highway 60 or the primary arterial street. For stormwater, the development plan contains one area designated for stormwater detention designed to accommodate stormwater generated by the development. The stormwater retention lake, consisting of approximately 6.35 acres, and drainage area will serve as common areas within the development. The retention area and all open space common area will be owned and maintained by the developer. All developments must include site design, providing for sufficient emergency vehicle access, as well as fire protection facilities. Additional elements of code compliance evaluate at the time of development, impacting the development of the subject property includes, but are not limited to, the city's zoning regulations, adopted fire code, and adopting building codes. The next step in the development process of the subject parcel, upon favorable rezoning outcome, will be the development review and approval of an infrastructure permit plan for the construction of utilities and roads. And finally, staff does consider the proposed rezoning to Planned Development District to be generally consistent with the goals and objectives of the comp plan and land use plans, generally consistent with the trend of development in the vicinity of the site, compatible with surrounding uses, and able to be served by municipal facilities. Specifically, the proposed development can be adequately served by the city's municipal water and sanitary sewer service and the city's transportation network. Staff is recommending the approval of this application.
Thank you. So let's go ahead and open the public hearing. First off, would the applicant or anyone representing the applicant like to step forward and speak? Yes, sir. If you could just speak your name and your address, sir.
Hello, my name is Sean Coatney. I live at 5281 West Schuyler in Springfield. And I'm the developer and here to answer any questions I can for you on the property. So I've done several things in the area that you could look to my past. We did Old Stone there on Old Stone Avenue, and we're currently building the 60 West property there at 60 and MM. And I can describe anything on the property that you have some questions on.
Well, I appreciate you coming today, sir, and if we have questions, we'll ask you later.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that'd like to speak in favor of the application? Okay. Is there anyone that would like to speak opposed to the application? Not all at once. Okay. We'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Commission, conversation amongst yourselves. If you have any questions for Mr.
I have a
Coatney.
question.
Yes.
So this is the same like property that in the past had been they brought.
You got to turn it on.
Yeah.
But
So why is this one okay, but the old ones weren't?
Well, there are a couple things that are different regarding this one. The former one that you are referring to a couple years ago, it was just the front 60. This is 60 plus the back 30. So this one is slightly larger. The general layout of the roads and the utilities is very similar, and that's why it probably looks similar to some of you. The difference is that we do have a developer that has been working with the City of Republic and also working with our partner agencies on the both the concept and the actual plan. The previous developer stopped and did not want to make some of the associated improvements that were required by the type of development that he was proposing. So the traffic impact study shows that there are substantial improvements on the roadways, both the new city street and US Highway 60, that are required for the number of trips generated by this development. This applicant understands that and is willing to make those improvements.
One of the lines here under the transportation says City of Republic will dedicate the portion of the new primary arterial city street constructed by the developer to MoDOT. I was
Correct.
curious what that meant.
Yes, so if you look at the main portion of the road, we're calling it a new public street because at some point, MoDOT, it may be a new segment of MM, but right now it's a new public street. They are not in the position, MoDOT is not currently in the position to say this is where that new intersection is going to go, this is where the new alignment is going to go. So for right now, and on our major thoroughfare plan, is just identified as the city street.
Okay.
Now, if at some point in the future MoDOT has the funding to make substantial improvements of the MM corridor where it would align with this, then the City of Republic will dedicate this public street to MoDOT. And at that point, if they need to make improvements to that roadway, they will have the right of way to actually do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Karen, I want to add, so just a little bit of background about what's going on. MoDOT's in the planning phase for realignment of MM. We know that a signalized intersection is going to go at this location at some point in the future. They're not to the point in their process to definitively say, we're going to go ahead and build this intersection here. The difference is we've got a developer willing to partner with us and say, hey, I need this development, I need this intersection. So they're willing to do their part and participate in the project, and you don't find that a ton when you're talking about this type of improvement. So that's a benefit to us, to MoDOT too, but they're in such a preliminary phase that even though I can tell you with 99% surety that this is where they want their signal, they won't say that officially. They're not allowed to.
So, did I hear that wrong, Karen? The new traffic signal's going on MM or 60?
It'll be on 60. So it will be the intersection of the new public street, which may be the future MM with 60.
Conceptually, MM would leave its current alignment at the Farm Road 160, which is the southern entrance to Amazon, and they would build a bridge over the railroad. It would come down and meet US Highway 60 at this location.
Oh, okay. Which I'm guessing is what would take away. I'm going back 2 years, but we did a traffic study, and they said that you couldn't put anything on 60 because it had a fail. Like, it was already failed due to the traffic. And so, I mean, that's why we didn't pass this the first time, is that it was a fail. Like,
Well,
you can't put anything there.
They weren't willing to build the improvements that it takes not to fail.
Okay.
In this situation, the developer is willing to build what it takes to have an intersection that functions.
And staff and the planner is okay with the additional stop that we were very adamant not to get. The additional light, because we know that it's going to happen anyways.
Yeah, Karen, you want to touch on the corridor study?
Yeah, we do. And there's additional improvements that will be happening along US Highway 60 in the future. They were identified by a corridor study that MoDOT commissioned that the City of Republic partnered with them several years ago. So overall, the concept with the realignment of with 60, it will eventually take away the crossover at near Come and Go at the railroad. So it's redirecting a lot of that traffic to a new location, which does warrant a traffic signal. So it's a small piece, or I guess a medium-sized piece of an overall realignment picture of the US 60 corridor and
Which changes the dynamic from what we previously talked about when it's like we can't put a stop on 60 or people will stop coming into Republic.
Right, yeah, and
Yes.
you probably won't believe me when I say this, but a signal will actually improve the function of 60. So what we found in the study was,
I have to believe you know more than I do, so yes, I do believe you.
if we don't, what will happen if we don't establish breaks in what we call the platoon of traffic? So
Yep.
you know what happens, you finally get a break, you get to get out on 60. So what will happen if we don't establish those is all the signals inside of 60. So the first one being at Oakwood at Republic Ford, they start to fail sequentially because we're jamming as much traffic as we can into Center City. So the corridor study told us was this is not a freeway. It's not really even an expressway, but more of a functioning primary arterial. So in reality, it's not, when you leave Republic, it's not going to be 60 miles an hour. It's not now when it's, at that busy time in the morning when everybody's going to work, it's really about 45 anyway. So eventually this corridor is going to 45 miles an hour. They're scoping, MoDOT's doing scoping for 6 lanes. I think we'll see that in the future pretty quickly. So,
Thank you. Does anybody else have any other questions or comments?
That was my primary, was traffic.
You were there
I
when
was
they told
there.
us that.
Yeah, I was there too.
Can I say one thing?
Yes, sir.
So, it's just in relation to what Karen was saying there, so it's not a new one, what it is a replacement for the old stoplight, improving, the whole queuing situation there. So by moving 60 to the east, it solves all of those queuing problems along coming to the corridor there, the railroads and all the stoplights. So it's not a new one, it's just moving it to a new location.
You're telling me that the existing stoplight is gonna go away at that intersection?
I think it will stay the same, but will be called a different street. So, New M is gonna go to the east, and they'll call that a farm road, but there'll still be a stoplight, I believe.
so this is a big picture. So again, we got to focus on what we're doing here with this development, but we're talking about probably at least 5 years worth of traffic improvement. So I can tell you that MoDOT has about 26 million programmed for 2025 for the highway and associated improvements. That would include whatever that configuration at Come and Go will look like. I can't say that there won't be some type of intersection there, but it probably won't be a full-blown signalized intersection like it is today, because you won't be able to go from Come and Go across the railroad tracks. That railroad crossing is going to go away.
Is there any other questions or discussion?
No.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve PDD 12-004, public hearing and possible vote to recommend the approval of an application to change zoning classification of approximately 92.85 acres located at the 3456 South Farm Road 101 from agricultural to general commercial to Stone Creek Falls Plan Development District PDD.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Councilmember Hahn,
Aye.
Councilmember Pedersen,
Aye.
Councilmember Crosby,
Aye.
Councilmember Phelps,
I have a question. Is this our last hearing on this matter?
This is the only public hearing.
Period.
Yes. Your recommendation is forwarded to City Council, who
never-
makes the actual,
No more votes after this.
correct. This is the public hearing. Yes.
Aye.
Councilmember Andrews,
Aye. Motion approves. All right. Move on to the second public hearing on the agenda, and that is a rezone 21-011. That is a public hearing and a possible vote to recommend the approval of an application for a rezone by S. Foreman Realty on behalf of Show Me Fabrication of a parcel occupying 9.1 acres from general commercial C2 to heavy manufacturing M2. Staff, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. S. Foreman Realty LLC has applied for the zoning classification change for the 9.1 acres located at 6330 West US Highway 60 from general commercial to the heavy manufacturing M2. So this particular property is currently occupied by a 12,000 square foot building. The initial footprint of the building was constructed in 1978 prior to the city's annexation of the property in 2007. The applicant has expressed their intent to occupy the building and do stainless steel manufacturing. The city's comprehensive plan generally encourages the expansion of commercial development through proactive rezoning of land at appropriate locations. Appropriate locations, again, are described throughout the plan with regard to the relationship of land at particular locations to infrastructure capable of supporting various intensities and densities of uses. We've identified several goals and then their corresponding objectives relating to our analysis of this rezoning with the comprehensive plan listed in your staff report. The subject property is surrounded by general commercial C2 across US Highway 60. This is directly south of Stone Creek Falls, which we just heard. Greene County Light Manufacturing and Greene County zoned plot assignment district to the east, and Greene County zoned agricultural property to the south. The plot assignment district reference to the east of 103 is limited in this case. This is Greene County zoning, but it does allow only for scrap metal processing. The land uses permitted in the M2 zoning district include industrial manufacturing uses of high intensity. Development of the parcel will require connection to the city water and sewer services. Water service will be provided through a connection to the 12-inch water main running along the south side of US Highway 60 along the parcel's frontage. Sanitary sewer service will be provided through a connection to the 8-inch main running along the southern property line. Sewer will then gravity first to the McElhaney lift station, then to the Schuler Creek lift station, and finally to the wastewater treatment facility. The several lift stations and the wastewater treatment facility, as well as the city's water system, do have the capacity for this particular type of development. A traffic impact study was not required for the rezone due to the expectation that any future improvements of this intersection would meet the minimum dictated by the major thoroughfare plan adopted by the city. We analyze it also for floodplain and sinkholes. There are no identified sinkholes, and it does not contain any floodplain area. Staff does consider the proposed zoning amendment or rezone to be generally consistent with the goals and objectives of the comp plan, consistent with the trend of development in the vicinity of the site, compatible with surrounding land uses, and able to be served by the city's municipal facilities. Based on this analysis, we are recommending approval of the rezoning request.
Thank you. All right, I'd like to open the hearing. Is the applicant or someone in favor of the application wish to speak?
Yes.
Approach sir. If you could just tell us your name and address, sir.
Hey guys, my name is Derek Watson, 1409 Northwest Bypass. Just kind of wanted to introduce myself to you guys and kind of let you guys know a little bit about our company and what we're doing, all that kind of stuff. So we're Show Me Fabrication. We're a premier stainless tank manufacturing company in Springfield right now, located on the west side of town, and we're trying to move 18 to 20 jobs here with the increase in the 25 to 30 in the future. As far as we're going to close on or before October 11th, and we should be in full production by the first of the year. And so basically, we're an image of Watson Metal Masters as far as the same kind of business model. And anyway, and then I'm hoping to expand the facility to the I guess to be the south in the next 2 to 3 years to increase more jobs, probably another 10 to 15. So we got higher paying jobs and all that stuff. So bring that to our public, and just thank you for your guys' consideration.
All right. Thank you for your presence.
Yep.
If we have any questions, we may call upon you later. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of the application? All right. Is there anyone that would like to speak opposed to the application? At this time, I'm going to close the public hearing. Commissioners, does anybody have any questions for the applicant or any questions of staff?
Does this lot, Karen, fall within the Highway 60 beautification corridor, Highway 60 corridor?
The city, we do not have any regulations regarding any type of aesthetic value that was removed from the zoning ordinance in 2019.
You're gonna be welding tanks or some form of stainless steel at the property? Any type of fencing barrier along that section of road?
Venting?
Fencing
Oh, fencing.
to obscure the operation?
Yeah, so the operator or the facility does have a fence all the way around. We have proposed some things with Karen and the team on as far as the laydown yards and kind of hiding that from everything.
This is the old tractor location, correct? It's no longer? Okay. Thank you.
What kind of impact along 60 is there going to be? I mean, I know there's traffic to 103, but is there, I mean, I would suppose they would get onto 103 or 60 from here.
Correct.
Trucks and everything like that.
So what the city is proposing is the existing driveway location will be moved to the southern portion of the property. We know if the development on the north side, the PDD that we just heard this evening, is approved, that intersection of 103 and 60 is going to move slightly to the west. So that will have an impact on this particular piece of property. Derek and his team do know about this impact, and we have been working with them to ensure that their plans for development do not include any portion of the parcel that potentially MoDOT or the City of Republic will acquire through right-of-way dedication for a realignment of 103 to the new intersection.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the commission?
What about environmental? And, you know, welding creates a lot of dust and everything like that. So is there any issues environmentally?
No, and that would not be something that would be considered as far as the rezoning request. I can tell you from conversations with Derek and his team, the welding itself is going to take place in the building, and any considerations for the debris or the water impact that would be addressed in the actual development of the building. So they'll have to go through a change of use. It was formerly VLP, kind of tractor sales and equipment sales. Their use will justify some changes to the building interior to accommodate this higher intensity use.
Thank you.
You said the property to the south and the east is Greene County,
Correct.
so this was annexed a long time ago?
This was annexed in 2007. So the building was actually constructed in 1978. And then, like many portions of the City of Republic, it came in piece by piece, or kind of section by section. So the building was in existence prior to it being annexed in the city back in 2007. So everything on actually the east side of 103 at this particular location is still in Greene County.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve rezone 21-011, public hearing and possible vote to recommend the approval of an application to change the zoning classification of 9.1 acres located at the 6330 West US Highway 60 from general commercial to heavy manufacturing.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Councilmember Crosby,
Aye.
Councilmember Phelps,
Aye.
Councilmember Pedersen,
Aye.
Councilmember Andrews,
Aye.
and Councilmember Hahn.
Aye.
Motion approves. So we're going to move to our third item, which is not a public hearing, but just a possible vote. Do I have that correct, Karen?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
This is sub D PRE 21-004. It's a possible vote to recommend the approval of an application for a preliminary plat for Old Savannah Phase 3, a residential subdivision consisting of approximately 22.95 acres located at the 6400 block of South Farm Road 89. Staff, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Old Savannah LLC has requested review and approval of the preliminary plat consisting of 22.95 acres known as Old Savannah 3. It'll contain 82 residential lots zoned single-family high-density residential, streets, and infrastructure. The technical review team does review all preliminary plats for conformity with the preliminary plat review criteria. We have done that. I'll touch on just a few basic things. The transportation plan, the plat does propose 3 new local street connections. The first is the continuation of South Old Savannah Avenue from Old Savannah Phase 2 to the north. The second is a continuation of East Abercorn Street from Old Savannah Phase 2. And the third is a connection to Williamsburg Walk by South Montgomery Avenue. Williamsburg Walk is on the south side of the development. New public streets will be dedicated to the city during the final platting process once all construction is complete and approved. The applicant did do a traffic impact study, or a TIS. It did take into account the full build out of phases 1, 2, and 3 of Old Savannah. It was determined that no additional traffic improvements were warranted by the increased trips generated by this particular subdivision. The reference parcel is not currently connected to municipal utilities, but obviously the utilities are in Phase 2 and Phase 1. All of Phase 1 has now been final platted and is under construction of residential homes. Phase 2 is now under construction for infrastructure. The development will be served through the looped water system created during prior phasing of Old Savannah. It is an 8-inch water main located at the termination of New Madrid Streets. That's located at the Lakes of Schuler Ridge subdivision, to a 10-inch water main located near the intersection of Hickory Street and South Farm Road 89. That's on the western side of the development. The development will connect to an existing 18-inch sewer main located on East New Madrid Street. Both the sewer system and the water system, as well as the associated lift stations and the wastewater treatment facility, do have the capacity to serve the development. The plat does contain 82 single-family residential lots and associated infrastructure. This does include public streets and sidewalks, public water and sanitary sewer mains, and stormwater detention. It does not contain any floodplain areas, and it does not contain any identified sinkhole areas. The plat does contain a stormwater detention in the northern portion of the phase at the end of Habersham Street. A second stormwater detention area is located on the south side of Perry Street between lots 36 and 37. It is, both are actually designed to control the release of stormwater from the development. The plat does contain a layout of the detention area. This area will be designed to mitigate existing conditions to reduce the amount of post-development flows to less than pre-development flows. The stormwater detention area and then all open space and common area within Old Savannah Phase 3 will be maintained by a homeowners association. For infrastructure design, the design of the streets, sidewalks, water and sanitary sewer systems, as well as the stormwater detention basin and system will be reviewed and permitted during the infrastructure permitting process. Staff does consider the proposed preliminary plat in general conformity with the requirements for plats, and we are recommending approval of this application.
Thank you. Since this is not a public hearing, does any of the commissioners have any questions of Karen or any of the other staff?
I'm just curious on that Williamsburg walkway.
Walk, yes,
Is that gonna? Will there be a sidewalk there on that
Yeah.
street
yes.
on the outside? Okay, because I see a lot of
Yes.
people over there.
So, Old Savannah Phase 1, which is north of the rectangle that's not included, so
Yeah.
that's a farmhouse, they did install sidewalk. So there will be sidewalk for Phase 3. So there will be a small gap in sidewalk along Farm Road 89 in front of the farmhouse. The city at some point will probably go in and install sidewalk, or the parcel will develop and they'll have to install sidewalk. But either way, there will be a continuation of sidewalk at some point in the future.
Any other questions about the preliminary plat? Concerns? Compliments?
I'll miss the corn.
What?
I'll miss the corn on
Me too.
the.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you.
Councilmember Pedersen,
Aye.
Councilmember Hahn,
Aye.
Councilmember Phelps,
Aye.
Councilmember Andrews,
Aye.
Councilmember Crosby.
Aye.
Motion approved. And that was our last order of business. And far as hearings go, we will move on to citizen participation. If there's anyone that would like to come forward and speak to the commission, they are more than welcome to right now. Okay. Not seeing anybody rush to the microphone, so we're going to close citizen participation. And then, Karen, I thought there was a couple other things that were normally on the addendum. I mean, I know that there's usually a city update and
Yeah, we do. I think it's still maybe on the agenda, the comprehensive plan update. So now that it's been approved
Yeah.
by everyone, we're really in the implementation stages, and we're still kind of in the infancy of implementation. So as we make additional progresses, we'll definitely share that with the commission.
So is there anything else that staff would like to share to the commission on the record?
I do have one item. I'd like to introduce Mr. Damon Phillips. He's our interim city attorney. Appreciate you being present tonight, and we'll be seeing him a lot more as we go on through our city business.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right. The next step is adjournment. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Thank you, Ray. Call the roll.
Councilmember Andrews,
Aye.
Councilmember Hahn,
Aye.
Councilmember Phelps,
Aye.
Councilmember Pedersen,
Aye.
and Councilmember Crosby.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Please make sure Karen gets your statement of facts. And for all of you that came, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.